swear, sometimes being a black queer nerd, black gay comic geek, can just be exhausting. Welcome to today's episode of Human Beings Are Trash. Welcome to my safe haven. This is not going to be a review. This is just going to be a general conversation. But regardless, if you're clicking this video, welcome. And thank you for joining me on the Black Gay Comic Geek channel. My name is Michael. Generally, I like to talk about, I say all the things I love in my superhero properties or my fantasy has blood, sex, gore, and magic, or a variation of the four. So I like to talk about superheroes. I like to talk about video games. I like to talk about comic books, action movies, fantasy, sci-fi, and I also like to talk about black representation and queer representation. So if that's something that you're interested in, welcome to my safe haven. Thanks for joining me. And so yeah, for this particular video, I am going to be talking about black representation, queer representation, Asian representation, all of the above for Eternals, but mostly in the vein of the queer representation, because yeah, as you guys know, Eternals has finally come out in theaters this weekend. It is now Sunday, November 7th. So for the most part, most people that are going to see the movie have already seen the movie. The box office numbers are kind of out already. Usually the official numbers come out on Monday, but you can kind of tell where it's going to fall on a Sunday. And yeah, usually when a Marvel movie comes out, it's given all the fanfare from the critics, the audiences, and everything like that. Like, usually Marvel movies are not as divisive. If you're coming across a divisive superhero movie, it's usually a DC movie, funny enough. But this time, out the gate, The Eternals is Marvel's first divisive movie. Actually, funny enough, it is also the first Marvel movie to be given a Rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's sitting at, actually, let me look it up. It is currently sitting at a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes. But that's not even what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about specifically, as you could tell from the title of this video, is because of the queer representation in Eternals, which if you haven't and you want to check out my non-spoiler review for the Eternals, I did a video with Ron from You Don't Read Comics, who I usually go live with when I'm talking about like WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, etc. We talked about Eternals way longer than I was expecting to. I thought the video was going to be like 20, 25 minutes. But sometimes, you know, when you get into a conversation with somebody else, it ends up going longer. And I was like, you know what? I'm not cutting any of it because I felt like it was a good conversation. So we talked for a good hour, and it was all still non-spoilers. So if you're interested, do me a favor, you know, check the boy out for the algorithm, the watch time, the YouTube channel, and everything like that. Check out the Eternals review. Even if you don't even watch the whole thing, let it play in the background or whatever. And also, if you could do me a favor for this video and the Eternals video, hit the like button to help with the YouTube algorithm, getting my video and my channel out there and letting the channel continue to grow and everything like that. And thanks to those that did watch and comment and hit the like button on the video. Hopefully it was enjoyable. You watched the whole thing. Hopefully, despite us talking again longer than I was expecting to, hopefully for that 57 minutes, we were at least entertaining. And yeah, and we weren't boring and you like clicked off the video after like 10 minutes. So yeah, for the Eternals, it was pulled from certain countries. Some people sent me messages on my TikTok saying that they live in Nigeria and was saying that it's banned in Nigeria. But yeah, according to the Hollywood Reporter, it says that the Eternals has been banned from places like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, like I said, African countries. More than likely, it's probably going to be banned in China as well. And it's been banned because it says sources suggest the decision was likely made over the inclusion of a same-gender couple in the film and the MCU's first gay superhero. In one scene, the character Phastos and his on-screen husband Ben share a kiss. And it's not a spoiler because that's been talked about all on the internet. Even Chloe Zhao talked about the same-sex kiss and why it was important to include that in the Eternals movie. And so, yeah, first time ever we have a same-sex couple, a confirmed same-sex couple, not implied or hinted at like they did with Valkyrie and Thor Ragnarok, but actually like out there in your face, and we actually see them kiss on screen. And so because of that, the straight agenda, people are like outraged about this whole thing, and so it's been banned in a lot of countries. And the thing about this is like, it just makes me sad because, and just infuriates me because like, there are gay people in Saudi Arabia, there are gay people in Kuwait, there are gay people in Qatar, there are gay people in Nigeria and all these other, China and all these other countries where this movie has been banned, and other movies like it, and yet like, they hardly ever get to see themselves represented on screen because they live in a place that is super homophobic. And while queer bashing is still a thing here in America, for the most part, I can have a whole ass YouTube channel called BlackGayComicGeek. I could be out and proud, walk out with a rainbow shirt, a rainbow flag on the train, and not really have to worry about anything, which is a privilege that I have living in America. And of course, with the exception of black trans women that are disproportionately bashed and unalived, like, thankfully, for the most part, me personally, I don't have to work. Like, I can be out and proud and not have to deal with anything, or at least more specifically from the country that I live in. I'm not talking about just individuals, the country itself. And it's just sad because, yeah, there are still dozens of countries. I think it's over 70 countries in the world where it's still illegal to be gay, bi, trans, any representation of queer. You could either be put to death or you could face life in prison. And it's ridiculous. It's infuriating. And then when you get to break it down even more, not even just the fact that these movies have been banned in certain countries, then on top of that, here in America, Eternals is getting review bombed. Not by professional critics, some professional critics as well, but so-called Marvel fans of saying that this movie is woke and it's propaganda and SJW nonsense, and Marvel is going woke with the Eternals because you have a deaf character with Makari. Of course, Phastos being queer. The fact that it's mostly people of color led with Gemma Chan, who's Asian. You have 2 Asian-led superhero movies that came out this year with Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Ten Rings, and now Eternals. Like, one of the quotes is, all it does is tick all the Hollywood woke boxes, which seems to be the goal. Not storytelling, but that's hardly surprising these days. Don't waste your money. It's not worth it. Or somebody else said, not watchable at all. And the funny thing about it is most of the people that are saying this, that are leaving these reviews, like saying, oh, it's not watchable, Marvel's going woke, or Hollywood's going woke, they're ticking a bunch of boxes. These review bombs came out before this weekend, so most of the people criticizing it haven't even seen the movie. And that's the thing that kind of pisses me off. It also triggers me a little bit because, yeah, like I mentioned in the intro of the video, like, being a black gay nerd a lot of times in this space is exhausting because you got to deal with most of the people that are in the comic book space and everything like that. They're mostly catering to straight white men. And so with that, dealing with white people, you got to deal with racism being in the nerd space. And then on top of that, you have to deal with homophobia. But then when you get with other people of color, you got to deal with racism as well, because other people of color could be just as racist as white people. And then you also still got to deal with homophobia. But then when you get to your own people, like in a lot of black nerd groups that I've been a part of, maybe you're not dealing with racism, but you're still dealing with homophobia. So you're getting it from both sides. And so just this weekend, I got into like a back and forth with somebody on Twitter, and she was black, and she was talking trash about the Eternals, saying the exact same thing. Like, the straight agenda is always saying the same sad, violent tale. Oh, it's woke, it's propaganda, like, they're ticking by, again, all the same comments. And so I went back and forth, and they're saying, oh, Marvel doesn't care about black people. They made Phastos gay. We don't have that many black superheroes, and we finally get one. And they decide, we finally get another one, and they had to make him gay. Why couldn't they make one of the white characters gay? And it's the same nonsense that the comedian Godfrey said on Vlad TV. And I'm like, so black gay people don't exist? Like, hello, black gay comic, like, I would like to see a black gay superhero. And I'm like, we had Luke Cage, Monica Rambeau, T'Challa, Okoye. They cut out a lesbian scene in Black Panther. We got Tessa Thompson, who's been hinted at being a lesbian or bisexual, but it wasn't overt. There's so many Black Falcon, War Machine. so many black superheroes. Obviously, there could be more, definitely. But black characters and superheroes in the MCU, you got one. Again, Tessa Thompson implied, so maybe two that are queer, and you're crying, Marvel doesn't care about black people. Now, granted, in terms of Hollywood and representation, obviously they can do better in terms of black characters, people of color characters, and Hollywood in general, like treating blackness and everything. Like, that's a whole nother criticism in and of itself. But a gay character or a queer character, trans, bi character, just existing in and of itself is not propaganda, is not woke, is not them not caring about black people. Black gay people exist. Black lesbian women exist. Black trans men exist. Black trans women exist. Black deaf women exist. Black deaf men exist. Black disabled period characters exist, and we deserve to be seen in these fantasy, horror, sci-fi properties. So then, after going back and forth with her for a little bit, and other people started to chime in, then she finally reveals that she didn't even see the movie. So she had all these opinions, and negative opinions at that. All these critiques about how Marvel doesn't care about, and she's done with Marvel, everything, and then she didn't see the movie. I was done with her after that. And then eventually she deleted the tweet, because then she started to talk about how, oh, y'all are attacking me. And it's like, nobody attacked you. Nobody called you out your name. We're simply questioning your statements. And yet now, all of a sudden, because we're not agreeing with you, now we're attacking you. Now we're being vicious. And now, yeah. And then, like I said, when she said she didn't see the movie, I was done with her. And then, on top of that, today, I saw a tweet that people were retweeting and posting, calling this person out. There's a famous black YouTuber. I'm not going to say their name. Basically, they were talking about Eternals and said, oh yeah, again, same criticism. Marvel's going woke, and how he had to close his eyes on one scene in the movie, and I can't believe they included that in the scene. And I jokingly was like, oh, they must be talking about the sex scene between the two straight characters, right? Because that's the part he had to close his eyes on, because this is the first sex scene in a Marvel movie. It couldn't be the benign, generic peck of a kiss between two men, right? And more than likely, yes, that is what he was talking about. He had to close his eyes on the gay kiss, and Marvel's going, yeah, it's woke. And I'm just like, the straight agenda is ridiculous at this point, and it is just so infuriating. Like, we've been catering, of course, people always talk about, oh, pandering, you're pandering. We've been pandering to straight white men throughout entertainment history. And then going further, we've been pandering to heterosexuality throughout entertainment history. People always talk about, oh, there's always a gay character in a movie. And it's like, yeah, more than likely, if they do include a gay character, it's a side character or the sidest of side characters. And then they're stereotyped. On top of that, like, name me one mainstream movie with a gay lead. Then dial it even further, name me one mainstream movie with a black gay lead. All you can name is Moonlight, which is technically not a mainstream movie. That was an indie movie that got more mainstream recognition, but it wasn't made by a major Hollywood studio. Funny enough, Love, Simon, which came out in 2018, was the first movie made by a major studio, Fox. Other than that, all the other gay movies, Brokeback Mountain, etc., they were made by indie studios. And again, Brokeback Mountain got mainstream recognition, but it was an indie movie. And other than that, like Brokeback Mountain and Moonlight. Okay, what other you could say those are, okay, let's say those are mainstream. Name me any time, even when the conversation talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier, oh, why does it always have to be gay? Why can't two men just be friends? Name me one mainstream movie or one movie period where they started out as friends and then it turned into a queer romance. It doesn't exist. So when people always say, oh, why does it always have to be gay? It never fucking is. Ha! Woosah. Yeah, but it's just infuriating. It's infuriating. And these are the fights that I have to talk about because I mostly talk about these types of comments on TikTok because it's easy that I could just get it out in a minute, post it, and then take myself to bed. And plus on TikTok, you're responding directly to comments, like with the video. You don't really have that feature here on YouTube, but like, yeah, it's just, the straight agenda is so draining. And then they try to say, oh, the gay agenda, gay people, oh, you're teaching it to you're pushing all of this stuff on our children as if gay kids don't exist. I was gay as hell when I was 8 years old, and I felt like nobody was like me. And the first time I saw a gay movie in 1999 when I was 14 years old called Trick, I was like, oh, this exists? And that's why representation matters. And that's why I continue to put myself out there, despite having been called the F word, despite having been called the N word, despite having been told to die, to kill myself, to repent, that, oh, black people can't be gay, despite being told, oh, you're probably not even actually gay. You probably are just saying that you're gay for clout. Yes, somebody said that to me. Despite the algorithm and everything like that suppressing my videos on TikTok, despite my views on YouTube not being nowhere near as high as when I was reviewing Lovecraft Country, and even though my subscriber count is going up, my views are for the most part pretty much the same, and it's a little disheartening, but I continue to put myself out there because you never know who's watching, and representation matters. I've gotten plenty of messages from people saying that, like, they're watching my videos in private because they come from a homophobic family, or thank you for doing what you're doing because it's letting me know that other black queer nerds in this space exist. Because, like I said, the part of the reason why I put myself out there, because a lot of the people that are reviewing movies and talking about superheroes and nerd content, comic books and everything like that, most of them are straight white men. And then when you do get to black people that are reviewing content, yes, I'm rooting for everybody black, but most of them are also straight. And so there are certain topics and conversations like me having this conversation where it's not really being had because I guess it's not their fight, or they don't see it the way I see it because as a person that's in the quote unquote gay lifestyle, whatever the fuck that means. And so I'm putting myself out there because I feel like I have to, because somebody in Nigeria or Kuwait or Saudi Arabia, maybe they might come across my video, see Black Gay Comic Geek, hear me talking about how fine Jonathan Majors is, or Fastos' husband, Haas Selman, who plays the character Ben, looking at how fine that man is fine. Like, I don't hear anybody talking about that on the internet. And I made that video on TikTok. I'm like, can we talk about how fine Haas Selman is? Maybe somebody will see that video and go, wow, maybe I'm not alone after all. Because, yeah, stuff like this, the movie being banned, the movie being review bought, it's just trash. It's trash. Like I said, I get it from both. You got to fight the battles from both sides. White people, people of color, and your own people. And so, yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. But at least on the bright side, Eternals, according to the Hollywood Reporter, like I said, the official numbers don't come out until tomorrow. But right now they're saying the Eternals has opened with a $71 million domestic box office and a $161 million global box office, making it the second highest opening movie of the pandemic era. So that's good news, at least. And of course, the media is trying to spin it by saying, oh, and for any other studio, these will be great numbers, but for Marvel, they gotta be concerned, or this is bad, or any. It's like, no. It opened with a profit, and then they're trying to compare it to Black Widow, and I'm like, Black Widow's been in the MCU since Iron Man 2. Like, why are you trying to compare this movie to Black Widow? Like, she's a more recognizable character. Then they also compared it to Shang-Chi, which again, the official numbers aren't out yet, but I'm like, Shang-Chi was marketed as an action, but we didn't know anything about Eternal. Granted, we didn't know anything about Shang-Chi either, but Shang-Chi also had a lot more going for it in terms of like the action, and I feel like Shang-Chi had better marketing. Like, a lot of people didn't know what Eternals was going to be, but you knew Shang-Chi was going to be an action movie, and that's what you got. And either way, it opened with great box office numbers. Like, for them to say, oh, for any other studio, these would be great numbers, but it's so they can sell headlines and everything like that, like, click. These are still good numbers, regardless of how you spin it. It doesn't have to be the best opening Marvel movie. We're not expecting Iron Man, Captain America numbers. Like, what? Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man didn't open with huge numbers, but yet, at the end of the day, it still made a profit. We got another Ant-Man. We're getting an Ant-Man 3. Doctor Strange also didn't hit huge numbers, and yet we're still getting Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So, $71 million opening for an unknown set of characters during a pandemic. those are still good numbers, in my opinion. But what the hell do I know? I'm just a guy that likes other guys and likes talking about comics and fantasy. But like I said in my review of the Eternals, which again, check it out, I wouldn't put it in my top 5 best Marvel movies, but it's definitely nowhere near the worst Marvel movie. Like, Thor: The Dark World exists, Iron Man 2 exists, The Incredible Hulk exists. Like, it's nowhere near those movies. It's not even Doctor Strange. I wasn't a fan of Doctor Strange. Like I said, it wasn't the best, but it also wasn't the worst. It doesn't have to be the best. So go see Eternals if you haven't, and check out my review if you haven't. I'm still trying to see if I'm trying to wait for Frankie, who's Frankie's living the fabulous life. So I'm trying to coordinate our schedule so Ron, Frankie, and I can go live to do a spoiler review here on the Eternals. So if you haven't hit the bell notification button so you're alerted when I make the announcement post about when we're going to go live to talk spoilers for the Eternals. So make sure you see Eternals so you can join us on the live. But yeah, hopefully we can coordinate that, and I'll get, Frankie, Ron, and we can talk Eternals. And so yeah, be on the lookout for that. I still haven't seen The Harder They Fall yet, but that's going to be the next thing I put out. And so yeah, do me a favor, hit that like button. It'll help with the YouTube algorithm and everything like that. Tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And if you like what you see, please subscribe for more and hit that, again, bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. And so, yeah, the straight agenda is trash. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.